Michael, the Commanders are 6-2. Can you believe that?
No, I can't believe he caught the Hail Mary. That's incredible. I believed it last week. You said 6-2. Yeah, sure, they were 5-2. I wouldn't have believed it with 5 seconds left in the game, and I certainly wouldn't have believed it before the season. I mean, this is an incredible run by this team.
Yeah, I keep watching the Hail Mary play. I keep watching that entire drive, honestly, because it just felt like there was so much belief on the sidelines. And the Commanders actually just released an awesome video where a few of the coaches went over to the players and said, you got to stand up for this. We need all the energy possible. And it worked.
He's so good before halftime, Jayden Daniels is. He's good before halftime. He's good in those situations. You give him a clutch situation, he's going to deliver more often than not. And I mean, I said it on my show. I think it's maybe the best play in the history of the stadium. It was that good.
Yeah, I heard you talking about that, and I would argue the Sean Taylor play in which they block the field goal and he returns it. Unfortunately, I was not at that game, and I still let my dad know. He planned a dumb trip to New York. We were season ticket holders. That was like the first game I'd missed in 10 years.
Oh, yeah, I think that's the one. I think your number 2 is probably the Rob Jackson interception to seal the 2012 victory to launch him into the playoffs. But, man, such a fun one, a great moment. And you nailed it. This team believes in what they're doing and believes that they can pull out from any situation.
Absolutely. And obviously, we're all still buzzing about the Hail Mary. But the other thing that's still stuck in my mind is, how the hell was that even a close game? Because we had the better quarterback. We played as a better team. Our defense was better than them. But I guess it does come down to explosive plays sometime, and the Bears made that.
It didn't convert in the red zone. That's certainly a big one, right? You go to the red zone 3 times in the first half, come out with 9 points. That's how you keep games close. DeAndre Swift, that big run, that's how you reel back in a team that should be way ahead of you. You add in the missed 51-yard field goal. I don't mind the missed 51-yard field goal in and of itself. It does seem to be a trend with Austin Seibert right now. I don't love that. He's kicking it a little too low when he's kicking it long. Lots of opportunities, though, to put this away. Just never quite did. I don't know that any of that is on Jayden's shoulders, but I think there's some big questions to ask about the wide receivers, some drops there, and the offensive line, but we knew that.
Yeah, Noah Brown earned his points back with the catch there in the end zone. He did have a few drops in this game. There were a few questionable decisions, all right? And obviously, hindsight's 20/20, but 4th and 1 from your own 12. If you convert that, you could possibly run out the clock. Oof. But you don't go for it in that situation, Michael?
Never. You're on your own 12. Ooh, that's unless I'm like peak tush-push Eagles where you know you're getting the yard, that you give it to them and they punch it in and the game's over right there, whereas the game continued by punting the ball. As on my own 12, I'm almost never going to do that.
So let me talk you through why I would have gone for it on that situation. And that's because Johnny Newton recovered a fumble in which they were already at the goal line, right? So you already should not have given the ball back to them. You did. Then you had one last drive here. It's 4th and inches. And so at that point in the game, if you miss it, they get a touchdown. They're up 15-12, right? But there's still 2 minutes left for you to drive down the field and get the field goal. You punted it back to them. And then, like you just saw, like we all witnessed, they gave us not enough time to do anything. We just had a miracle play. If it wasn't for the miracle, we would have lost that game. So that's why I would have gone for it on 4th down. Because even if you miss and they score, you still get one more chance to go down and win the game.
It's kind of the let them score approach there, I guess, kind of where you
or
let
it's just, I believe in us to get a 4th and 1. Have we missed a 4th down this season?
It's incredible. We haven't missed a lot of 3rd and longs either. So, yeah, there's some good stuff going on there. Brian Robinson, is that whose number you're calling that?
Absolutely.
4th and 1?
And we talked about this off air, is that the game plan got away from them a little bit. There was 14 consecutive plays without a handoff to B-Rob, without a touch for Brian Robinson. And that's on Cliff right there. I know you want to get Eckler involved, and the passing game's working well. Jayden threw for over 300 yards there, but you have to ground and pound, especially in the second half at home.
Yeah, it's there wasn't enough Brian Robinson, and on a day where Jayden obviously wasn't feeling it in the second half, you would have wanted more. And more Austin Eckler. I want more of both those backs. I want more Jeremy McNichols, too. I think this running game's playing well right now. I do worry about the left tackle situation if Lucas has to miss time and Coleman has to miss time. I don't know that they're in a great spot there, but I do know that these tight ends are blocking really well in the run, too, though.
Michael Phillips with us here, MP on the mic, 10 to noon. I'm Adam Epstein. You're listening to Awadd Radio. So we had a little argument before the season. I was very pro Cliff Kingsbury. You didn't believe in him, especially when defenses adjust, all right? I predicted this 5-2 start. Don't ask me how I got that right, but we both talked about defenses will adjust to Cliff's system. Final score, they scored just 18 points. We all know it was really just 12. And so I guess my question is, Did you feel like the Bears and the NFL figured out Cliff, or was that just a bad offensive game?
And a hurt quarterback too, right? I mean, you could definitely tell Jayden wasn't playing at 100%. The converting in the red zone, now that's 2 games, the Giants game and this game, where they haven't converted in the red zone. And if they had converted, we're not having this discussion at all, right? So I think those things are fixable. I think, if they even punch in a couple of those touchdowns, this isn't a competitive game, and we're talking about the offense rolling. I do wonder about, especially as we get deeper in the season, making sure you get Jayden the time he needs to throw the ball. You saw what they did to Caleb Williams the other way, right? Teams are starting to do that to Jayden and starting to get to him. Not that he's not capable of being elusive, but teams are really starting to break through and get solid, consistent pressure on him.
No, absolutely. And I do think that Cliff still had a good game plan. The Zacchaeus touchdown called back, Ertz touchdown called back, right? Yeah. I mean, you could be looking at 27 points being scored instead of just 18. On the other side of the ball, though, I do think the Hail Mary is masking how bad Caleb Williams was. I thought he was seeing ghosts. You tell me, Michael, from your vantage point there, he was getting sacked and he was getting pressured a ton. There's no question about that. And he scrambled around. But at times, it felt like he left the pocket way too early.
Oh, very bad first half for him. He was antsy. He was moving too quick. He was sped up. And you could tell he was paying for it, right? He was missing guys way out of sync. I thought he settled in the third and fourth. He played a really good fourth quarter. So I'm not going to say the whole game was bad for him. That first half, though, that was a stinker. He's going to want to burn that tape.
2 plays that I just will never forget from that game. Obviously, the Hail Mary. But, man, the 4th down stop in which St. Juice just attempts to wrap him up, but then Luvu gets there. And Luvu's so good at tackling. It's incredible. That was such a game-changing play right there.
Absolutely. I did the speed, right? The speed of Luvu to get from the interior to out wide and make the tackle and push him back, right? St. Juice hung on for long enough. He did what he needed to do. They got the second body in there, gave him the, pushed him back. I loved everything about that play, right? The speed, the flying around. I think Frankie Luvu is the best player on this defense right now.
Michael, the question today at the Richmond Commander, 833-804-0910, is what did you learn about the Bears game?
What did we learn about the Commanders in the Bears game? I learned that this defense is improving every week. I really like this D-line. I thought that was a great performance by them. I get more and more impressed with this defense every week. I think they are starting to peak here, and I think the ceilings, it's not as high as some teams, but they're making the most of what they got, and credit to Dan Quinn on that, Joe Witt.
Yeah, no, I'm so with you on that.
It was violent. It was a violent defense. They were hitting guys. You got the sense the Bears were shying away from contact towards the end because the defense was hitting hard.
Yeah, for me, I learned that there is real belief in that locker room. They believe in each other. They believe in the coaching staff. They believe in Jayden, as you saw. I mean, the excitement, the players running off the field saying, we got JD5, we're going to have a chance.
Always. You just put that kid in any situation, he rises to it. And we've seen it so many times this year. Something special's happening here. And you jump on the bandwagon because the 6-2 football team probably going to make the playoffs. And it's going to be fun to have postseason football with Jayden Daniels.
I mean, I got goosebumps stuff from Michael telling me the 6-2 football team makes the playoffs. I'm not used to this playoff talk here. In October?
In October?
Is this real life? Pinch me! Pinch me!
And every time these guys have made the playoffs in the last couple of decades, it's been like late season surge. Like the 2-6 team makes it, and the Robert year they were 3-6. How nice is it to just be good and be good quickly and not have to worry about those things?
Yeah, and the rest of the season is a 4th-place schedule with a couple really winnable games like this weekend against the Giants. We'll talk about that one tomorrow with Michael Phillips. I'm Adam Epstein. You're listening to Awadd on The Fan.